How to find off-market real estate deals. Stop waiting for MLS listings because you're already too late. Off-market is where the real money is. The question is, how do you find them? In this video, I'm going to break down the best ways to find off-market deals consistently. You'll discover proven strategies that investors use to find off-market deals consistently before anybody else does. Okay, in this video, there's a lot that we can cover, so buckle up and get ready to take some notes. There are two main ways that we can find off-market deals. One is through effort, the other is through pay. So let's sort of break them down one by one and we'll go down that sequence. So the effort part means it doesn't really cost any money or very little amounts of money. One, I'm going to tell you to be a good referral builder. I want you to set up a referral network of people that will bring you deals consistently. You say, but why would they want to bring me deals, and who's going to want to bring me deals? Like, who will do that? Let me explain. There are people in the world that through their profession are going to be in front of motivated sellers that you want to talk to, off-market motivated sellers. They are there for their own business, for their own reason, but you want to incentivize them to at least give you the name or the address of that property so that you can approach that seller directly before it hits the open market. Where do you start with that? Well, who do you think most people call first when they want to sell a house? A realtor. That's a normal pre-programmed thing that a lot of people have out there. So they might call a real estate investor like me or like you, but that requires marketing, and that's what we're going to talk about in just a minute. This is the referral network. So let's say that you have a realtor and you say, listen, I want to pay you and I want to employ you as soon as you bring me a deal, but I don't want it to be on the open MLS. Don't send me stuff that's already listed. There's nothing worse than telling a realtor you want to find off-market deals and they start sending you listings on the MLS. That's an amateur hour move. That's not the realtor you want to work with. You want to find a realtor that understands what a pocket listing is. A pocket listing means they literally get the listing and it kind of goes in their pocket before it goes on the open MLS because they contact their network, which should be you, and they say, I have a deal. Before I list it on the open market, do you want to take a look at it? Now, why would they want to do that? You say, Glenn, but I'm a realtor and I have an ethics that I have to abide by. Well, you do, but your seller may not want to clean the house. They may not want to have a lot of showings in the house. The house might be dirty, it might need a lot of repairs, and you might be saying, look, for top dollar, you're going to have to repair these things. You have to paint that wall and that leaky ceiling you have to fix. And I see the roof actually is leaking in the bedroom. I can see water dripping there, and you're going to have to repair that before I put this on the market. And they're going to say, I don't want to, or I don't need to, or I don't have the money to do all that stuff. The realtor can say, look, I may have another option for you. What if I had a cash buyer for you that would come in and didn't care about all those things? Would that be helpful to you? Boom. So you educate the realtor on what you're looking for. I call it your buy box. I'm going to bring that up again at the end. But you educate the realtor on what you're looking for. And then you say, okay, if you find that deal, bring me in, and I'm going to give you what I call my triple commission strategy for real estate agents. Triple commission? What do you mean? Here's what I mean. If you bring me a deal and I buy it, you get to keep the seller's commission that you negotiated with the seller. Plus, I'm going to have you list the house when I'm done. So let's say the house that you paid was $100,000, and when you fix it, it's now worth $200,000. Essentially, the real estate agent is going to have a double commission because now instead of selling a $100,000 house, which he or she already got paid for, now they're also going to sell a $200,000 house that's fully renovated, much more easy to sell. That's on the open market. Now they get paid two ways. But I'm going to give you a third way. I'm going to give you an extra $2,000 as a referral bonus to thank you for bringing me that deal. Look, if I'm going to make a $50,000 profit, I'm willing to give up $2,000 to have you think of me first all the time. And they should be thinking about you first in your market, right? If a realtor's going to get paid three ways, they're going to think about you when they walk into a house and go, this one is a good... Now, not every house is going to be a good flip house. But when they walk in and know what your buy box is, they're going to say, oh, I'm going to call so-and-so. Insert your name there. I'm going to call them for this house, and then you can buy that house. So that's number one with real estate agents. You get a few of those doing that, you'll buy 2 or 3 deals a year at a $50,000 profit per. That's a game changer, right? The next is you can use people like mail carriers. Mail carriers is how we bought our first 2 houses. If you're a Seinfeld fan, you'll know that Newman used to say, when you control the mail, you control information. That's what he used to say, right? And so, love Newman, but as a mail person, they know what's going on. As the mail carrier, they know what's happening. They know if someone is in default. They can see the bills that show up, right? They know if someone's passed away. They know if there's taxes being delinquent. They have a really good idea what's going on in that family. If there's a divorce, they know, right? They can see changes and they know. So I went to my mail carrier and said, look at Laura, I said, if you find a deal that matches my buy box in this neighborhood, it happened to be the same neighborhood I was living in because I was a lot younger then, they're smaller homes. And I said, I'm looking for this type of a home. If you find one that might need work, let me know. And she found a home 2 blocks away. There was a 75-year-old couple that were in there working on the house. They were putting a countertop in on a really hot day. They didn't want to do construction, and I happened to walk on the door and said, hey, would you guys be open to an offer for me buying the house? And she said, absolutely. And we bought the house, and that was our first flip. We've done almost 1,400 since then, and we still do 100 deals a year, so we're very active. But that's where it all started, was from talking to my mail carrier. Now, back then, I gave her $250 as a thank you. I could give her $2,000 because we make a lot more money on flips now. So whatever you decide you want to give as a referral bonus, you can. But you see how we're setting up a network of people that bring you off-market deals? This is how the professionals do it, and it doesn't cost you any money. Once you set it up, your job is to just stay in touch with those people. You could do the same thing with estate sale companies. You could do that with insurance adjusters. You could do it with contractors. You could do it with, did I say clean out companies? If I didn't, clean out companies already. So there's a lot of people that are going into homes for their own reason, and you just want to let them know that you're looking to buy homes and you're willing to pay them if they give you the lead for it. That's how you do it without paying any money. Now, the next way is to pay money. So if you want to pay money, let me just give you a for instance. When I first started, I was spending $1,000 a month. Maybe it was $500 a month to do some direct mail postcards. And then it became $1,000 a month. Well, now our company spends around $50,000 a month in marketing because we're on TV, we're on radio, we do direct mail, we have PPC, we have SEO, we have a website, we have web traffic, we have all the things that we do to make the phone ring to us. So if you are a business owner and have a business owner mindset, you understand that you have to advertise to get people to buy your service. If you own a Subway, you chip in because Subway does all the advertising and people come to you because it's fresh, right? Or if you want to, if it's a pizza company locally, they're doing advertising. You have to advertise to get people to come to you. Same thing when you want to buy a house and you don't want to do it with legwork. You're going to have to pay money to make the phone ring to you. So how do you do that? I recommend starting with a very simple direct mail or a postcard campaign. But it's not just sending postcards and direct mail to everybody under the sun. You got to make sure that you are directing it at the right people. Now, there are lists you can buy from list companies. We talk a lot about that in some of our trainings right here. Subscribe to our channel to learn more about that so you can learn about the different ways you can advertise, where you can buy lists and all that. But one of the things you could do is buy what's called a predictive seller list. There is software that has hundreds of data points, and they say, in the last year or 2 years, what are the hundreds of data points of all the sellers of these properties? And then it says, let's predict the future by looking at the past. It says, okay, here's what all these sellers had in common. What are the future sellers going to have in common? And it gives you a list of people that don't even have their house for sale yet, because it knows there's a good chance in the next 6 to 12 months, they're going to be thinking about selling a house. When you send your postcard to them, it almost jars them to go, hey, honey, we were just talking about this. Look what I got in the mail today. And boom, they call you. That's a clever way to do this and be smart about your marketing. Obviously, you can do TV ads like we do and that kind of stuff. I recommend that you do that in time. I think if you are watching this video, you're probably not at the place to be doing TV and radio ads quite yet. They get kind of expensive, and there's a lot more involved with that. But it's important you start with something simple like direct mail to make the phone ring. You can do bandit signs. Those are inexpensive. Put them around town. Those We Buy Houses signs. Again, you're going to spend a little money, but that'll make the phone ring to you so you can then find motivated sellers and off-market sellers. Now, all of these methods I'm telling you, they all work. The question is, in the paid advertising side, is does the math make sense? In other words, we're always looking saying, what's our cost per customer to find an off-market deal? What's our cost per lead? In some lead sources, it might be $1,000 or $2,000. Do you know, in some sources, it's $7,000 or $8,000 to find that lead. It becomes more complicated the more money that you spend because you have to have a certain person. We have marketing teams that are always evaluating all those and saying, what's our cost per click? What's our cost per phone call? What's our cost per deal? And all of the things that you really have to do to have a robust marketing department. But even when you're small, it's important that you know, hey, I've spent $15,000 in 3 months for direct mail, and I finally found one deal, but I made $75,000. That's a good ROI or ROAS. ROAS stands for return on ad spend. I'm getting a little bit in the weeds here, so I'm gonna back out of the weeds, but ROAS means if I spend $1, am I getting $3 or $4 back? That's what you wanna look for. And so if you could say, if I spend $5,000 and I bring in $50,000 or $15,000 in 3 months, and I bring in, let's say, $75,000 in profit, well, that's probably a good ROAS or a good return on your ad spend, or you could also call it your return on investment. That's the things you'll do when you are spending money for advertising. You have to be consistent. Whichever method you choose, you have to be consistent to find off-market deals. If you are not consistent, you won't have a consistent flow of leads. But you say, Glenn, here's the problem. I can't buy that many houses, right? Okay, you want to be consistent with a marketing plan, whether it be one you set up through referrals or whether it be one you pay for or a combination of both. But then you want to have multiple exit strategies so you never have to stop finding off-market deals. And I would encourage you to consider wholesaling off all the leads that you don't want to flip yourself. That's how we stumbled into wholesaling, because we had a marketing machine that was generating leads month after month after month, and I used to throw them away because I didn't buy them, and I realized other people want to buy those. So if you wholesale, that'll help offset your marketing costs. That was down a rabbit hole. Subscribe to our channel, learn how to wholesale, learn how to do all that. There's just a lot more involved when you start spending money on marketing. But if you do choose to go the referral method, that requires consistency also. You can't just set it up and hope it's going to run. Once you set the initial relationship up, your job is to check in with them, to build that friendship, to build that relationship so they always know to call you. If you don't stay in front of them, how in the world are they going to know to call you? Just like in advertising, you have to stay in front of them on a regular basis. That's how they get to know who you are. So it will require consistent check-in, even just texting, sending a little pizza once in a while to their shop, whatever it might be. Just stay in front of them, be consistent, and you will find off-market deals. Have multiple exit strategies, and you'll never be without the best deals to pick for yourself. Finding deals is easy if you know your criteria. So go to my next video, the crucial step new investors always miss, where I'm going to teach you how to define your buy box. You don't want to waste time looking at the wrong kind of properties. You want to know very specifically what you're looking for, and that training will give it to you in a nutshell so you can write down what I'm looking for so you can actually put the blinders on and focus and find the right off-market deals where you make the most amount of money to really reach your goals as a real estate investor. The link is right here. Check it out.